Fair is Fair by Sonny Varela, illustrated by Péter Máhr. Zookeeper loved all of her animals, but she was especially fond of hare, giraffe, and elephant. She fed them herself every day. She gave hare a handful of food. She gave giraffe a wheelbarrow full, and she gave elephant a whole truckload. They were all healthy and happy because each day they had just enough. One day they were lounging under a giant shade tree. Each was speaking about how much Zookeeper must love them. Hare bragged, "Did you know Zookeeper gives me a handful of food every day? And it's exactly enough. She must really love me." Giraffe laughed. "Well, she must really love me because I get a whole wheelbarrow of food. What do you think of that?" Elephant trumpeted out an even bigger laugh. "Well then," said Elephant, "I must be the most loved of all because I get an entire truckload." "Not fair!" shouted Hare. "Why should you two get so much more than I?" "Not fair at all," said Giraffe to Hare. "Zookeeper must love Elephant more than us." Giraffe, Hare, and Elephant all looked at each other in silence. "But I know how to make things fair," said Giraffe. "When Zookeeper gives us our food, we can pile it together and split it evenly. Then things will be fair." And that's what they did. The next day they piled their food together and split it evenly. Each animal got the same amount. After eating about a handful of food, Hare was stuffed, but he still had a large mound of food. After eating about a wheelbarrow full of food, Giraffe was stuffed, but she still had a large pile of food. But Elephant ate up all his food, and he was still hungry. He gazed at the piles of food that Hare and Giraffe still had and wanted to ask for some, but he thought, well, fair is fair. He walked around his pen with his stomach growling. After several days, Hare became fat from eating so much, and his leftover food towered over him and took up his entire living space. Hare thought, I might get buried alive soon. Giraffe was also getting fat, and she kept tripping on piles of leftover food. Elephant was the most miserable of all. He was getting very skinny and pale, and he was always hungry and grumpy. And even though they all said, well, fair is fair, none of them was healthy or happy. Zookeeper saw how the food towered over Hare, and how Giraffe's knees were badly bruised, and how Elephant had become so skinny and grumpy. So she called a meeting under the giant shade tree. "What's going on?" Zookeeper asked. Giraffe explained how they all wanted to get the same amount of food so that everything would be fair. "We don't want anyone to be loved more than anyone else." Is it fair for Elephant to be hungry while two of you are buried in food? Asked Zookeeper. The three animals thought about this. Hare said, No, that doesn't seem very fair. Elephant and Giraffe agreed that it wasn't very fair at all. Zookeeper went on. Fairness isn't everyone getting the exact same. Fairness is everyone getting what they need. She gave a great big hug to Elephant, Giraffe, and Hare. And then she gave each of them just enough food, and they didn't care how much it was or how much the others received, because each one knew that they were loved.